Welcome back and many thanks for staying with us. Well, next week, the Akufo-Addo administration enters its 100 days at the helm of affairs. The 100-day retrospective has since the 19th century been a point of reference for assessment of leaders. Well, that's because it is believed that the 3-month period is enough time to take decisive actions even before leaders solidify their legacies. Here at JoyNews, we're marking the day with a town hall meeting with Vice President Dr. Bawumia, where people get to ask him questions, and the hashtag is Ask Bawumia. Evans Mensah is head of our political desk. He'll tell us more about this meeting. Evans, welcome.
Thank you, Gifty.
It's been a while since I had you on the show.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what should our viewers and listeners expect on Tuesday?
Well, it's going to be a session where you could reach out to the government through the Vice President and get answers. So, in other words, the Vice President himself, all the times that we've met him throughout the planning process of this town hall event, has been very willing to open up and take questions. He thinks that it's in the interest of transparency. And once the government is 100 days, you put that preamble quite aptly. There are things that have gone on that you Ghanaians want to get answers to. You voted for them last year. Yeah. You want to be sure if they are making wise use of the power that you've given them. And the Vice President is willing to open himself up. So people can expect that. And that's why we put the hashtag up, Ask Bawumia. And at the event, too, strictly by invitation, though. Okay. But whilst you watch the event, you could still be sending your questions
through social media.
Hashtag Ask Bawumia. We'll select a few for the Vice President to answer. So it's going to be an exciting, I guess, transparent moment for Ghanaians to ask questions of the people they've elected.
Often when we talk about transparency, and often when you get to meet, it's not every time that you get to meet people like that. Often when people meet, there is some kind of selective questioning, if you like. Are we going to see something like that? Are there restrictions on the areas or the topics within upon which you can ask questions, or is it sort of open?
I mean, to produce a program like this, you definitely need to do some pre-production. Right. Also, to have a smooth, well-planned, well-structured program. You cannot have a free-for-all sort of situation. So you definitely must sit down and think, what are the, and we're just deciding which areas you're going to play within. Okay. And then you can, within those areas, you can ask any question you want. We are not going to limit you at all in terms of asking the questions.
Which areas are we looking at?
So we are looking at, in terms of the areas, we're looking at the economy is a key part of, we're looking at corruption. We are free SHS or power, because it's a huge part of the promises the MPP made last year. We're also going to look at security, because it's come up very strong. The Delta forces, etc., had come up. We'll talk about that. We're also looking at issues surrounding Galamsey. I mean, it's a big conversation now, so definitely we need to get him to say something about that. We're looking at the transition as an area to discuss. Transition, obviously, because we moved into a new era. There were many issues there, issues around the cars that we're talking about right now. Issues surrounding, people being
former presidents, residences, etc.
Issues surrounding the Vice President's own residence, which was being built for him at the cost of $13-point-something million, which had become a controversial subject. All those will be explored. We'll talk about agriculture as well. And so education is key. So you can ask broad questions. Any specific question you want to ask within these areas, you're allowed to ask. And Dr. Bamiyan is willing to take all these answers on board.
Sounds pretty much like everything.
All these questions on board and give us answers.
It sounds pretty much like you're talking about everything anyway, so it doesn't really
absolutely.
Feel like
in other words, you want to select the areas that are most important to Ghanaians. Ghanaians want to have answers to, and so these are the areas that we've agreed together with the Vice President for people to ask questions.
Where is it happening and who's coming?
So this is going to happen this is next week, Monday. Which is Easter Monday, and it's going to be at the New Court Complex. If you know the New Court Complex, if you're wondering where that is, just behind National Theatre, going towards the, I think the Trade Ministry. But when you get to the Ministry traffic light, you just proceed further. If you're coming from the National Theatre and get to the Ministry of Traffic Light, proceed further. You see this beautiful edifice that was built last year, commissioned last year, the new court complex. It hosts the new Supreme Court buildings itself. That's where we're going to have it. It's going to start at 9. Okay. We're going to have a 1-hour build-up into the show, but we hit the airwaves with the Vice President at 10, but people should be seated from 9. Once it starts, we'll close the door. If you are, and it's strictly by invitation. Okay. Strictly. So every person who's going to be in the auditorium will have an invitation. If you don't have an invitation, you watch on TV and listen to it on radio.
Social media.
Or watch on myjournal.com, because we're going to stream live. Okay. So it's going to be live on TV, on JoyNews channel. It's going to be live on radio, on Joy 99.7 FM. It's going to be streamed live on our website, myjournal.com. So you don't have to miss it.
Talking about strictly about invitation, who's coming?
So we are inviting particular groups. So journalists have been invited in terms of, and we send invitations out to media houses. Okay. Because obviously, I mean, if I'm a journalist, I would love, even though my competitor is hosting it, I would love to ask a question of the Vice President. We are inviting Labour. We are inviting political parties, reps, to also be there. We are inviting fishermen, farmers. We're inviting the GBA. We are inviting, I mean, these identifiable group students, exactly. Not, these associations. Okay. They'll bring representatives to come and ask the question. And we hope that these questions then will be representative of the individual members of the group. Right. So if a teacher asks a question, you're expecting that the teacher's question, it will represent what the larger number of teachers across the country probably will want to ask. Vice President that they can ask, because we can't invite all teachers because they can come there, of course. So that's why we're limiting it to these groups.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Evans, for passing through. And I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to this, and it should be an exciting moment. Thank you so much. Evans Menace is head of our political desk, and the hashtag, remember, is Ask Bawumia. It's strictly by invitation, but you can join us. Of course, you know how social media brings you close to the people that hitherto you wouldn't be close to. So just get ready for Monday, and you sure will hear interesting answers to very interesting questions, I believe. Well, having dealt with us, let's move to the Upper East region, where local miners at Gbani in the Talensi district of that region continue to insist that the blast that caused the mine accident, which killed about 7 people on Thursday, was deliberately carried out by a Chinese mining company working in that area. Speaking to JoyNews on Monday, the miners said the concession upon which they're working is a legal small-scale mine and not an illegal one, as has been speculated. Albert Sori is our man in Upper East region. Here's more on this story. Hello, Albert. Albert, can you hear me? I've lost Albert once again. It appears that the lines are not being very helpful today. Albert, I believe you're back on. Can you hear me? Hello, Albert? Yeah, I said it. The lines are not being very helpful to us at this very point, but we'll try and raise Albert back on the line. It's really in relation to a mine blast that happened in the Upper East region in Gbani, to be precise, where 7 people were killed. Yesterday, they were buried. We're looking to get some update on this from Albert Sori. Also, we'll be talking about what's happening in Akwatia. We understand that some illegal miners there are vowing to vote out President Akufo-Addo should it go ahead, that is the administration, to wage its much talked about a war against Galamsey. Their comments come on the heel of government's commitment to clamp down on the practice. Deputy Minister of Lands and Natural Resources Benito Owusu-Bill, who is on a tour of the Diamond City, Akwatia, ahead of an international inspection team set to visit Ghana to review our exploration and the sale of natural resources, rehashed that commitment. And some traders who were present at the Belgium market in Akwatia were displeased, stating that Galamsey is their only source of livelihood, and so they will remove from office any government that attempts to stop that menace. Maxwell Agbagba is with the Deputy Minister. We can get some updates from him now. Hello, Maxwell. Well, I don't have Maxwell right now, but watch this.
Honorable Benito Wisubio is wrapping up with the store of Akwetia. Let's find out from him what he makes his own assessment of this store and whether he thinks Ghana is ready for the inspection team that will be visiting Ghana from the 17th to the 21st of March. Honorable, you've seen it for yourself.
Yes, I'm happy to have been here, to have seen it myself. I can say that we are almost ready. There are just one or two issues to do with the record-keeping aspect, where those who come and sell the diamond, some of them, they are just recalcitrant. They don't come with their ID cards. And so in that doing, they are not able to capture the ID numbers. But we've told them, and that gradually, even today, as we are here, they are calling them all back to make sure they get their ID numbers. I think the next step is that they should even have a list in all the market stores of all the sellers, the winners. They should have them pasted there so that when you don't even come with the ID card, he can check and then get your number on his wall and then make sure he puts it down. Because you know Ghana, and then the way we don't, some of us don't like holding IDs on themselves, and that is becoming an issue, because we don't want it to happen that the team gets here and during their inspection they find on the sheet some missing columns in it. Yes.
Okay. Now, another issue that came up, you're talking about trying to get some people engaged in illegal mining into the correct fold. What about that one?
Yes, you know, the government's intention is to stop illegal mining and also to stop galamsey. Yes, that is, I know that is positive. The government will do it. That is it. But we have to look for alternatives at the same time for them. Yes, some of them are used to mining and it's something they want to do. So with what we saw yesterday on the concession of GCD, where we went and then met those working in the tributary system, where they've been brought together and they are controlled and supervised by the GCD staff. Where we also that they are doing it in a process which is environmentally sustainable, to the extent that even when they finish, they cover it up and then they even turn them into palm farms. Yes, so that is positive. So we would meet with the GCD management to see how we can get some portion of their land, and then we expand that system so that those who will be kicked out of the galamsey around our surroundings here, those ones can be brought into the fold to do the right thing. But galamsey will end it. Okay. Yes, because it is not sustainable. We don't have to encourage it. Okay.
Maxwell Agbagba there with the Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Benito Owusu-Bio. I have Maxwell on the line now. Hello, Maxwell.
Yeah, hello, Gipsy.
Maxwell, what was the minister's response, the Deputy Minister's response to threats by people in Akwetia that his party will be voted out if they continue with this fight against illegal small-scale mining?
Well, Gipsy, I must say that the minister stuck of government to clamp down on the practice of, galamsey. In fact, after that reaction from some of the sellers at the belt, I mean, his views were not different from what he had stated earlier.
Maxwell, you're not very clear at the moment. If you could reposition and so we could hear you a bit clearer.
Sorry, I'm in a vehicle right now.
Okay. Well, let's try it once again.
Yeah, is it fine now?
I think so.
Okay, so Gipsy, I'm saying that the minister stuck to his earlier remarks about clamping down on the practice of galamsey. In fact, in his final comments to wrap up his visits to the Belgian market in Akwetia, he stated that they are still committed to do it, but then they would also find alternatives for the many people who will be out of jobs because of the campaign, because of the war that they are waging against the practice. So yes, he didn't change his position on the matter at all, Gipsy.
And did they tell him directly, or was this an interaction that you had with the people? Did they tell it to his face?
So this is what happened. The minister was actually going around to inspect the diamonds that he put on the tables. In fact, there's an international team that will be coming on from the 17th to 21st of March to actually review or inspect how Ghana is faring with exploration and the sale of diamonds. So in preparations for that particular visit, the minister went there to Abuja purposely to check and to see if everything is in place before the international inspectors come. So today at the market, he was trying to inspect the certificates and then the ID cards of the people who trade in the diamonds there at the market. So it was during the interaction that some of the sellers around the place started raising the issue of galamsey. So it was in response to some of those things that he was saying. So after he had left that particular table, that was when the other sellers who were at the market came to us and said, no, to stay to our minds. A lot of them were very angry because the minister rehashed the point they are going to, clamp down on the practice of galamsey. So it wasn't like a one-on-one interaction with them. The minister had finished making his point. He had moved on to another table, and that was when the guys came and told us that, look, we want to also state our position on this matter.
I see. And what next? Now that you're finished, he's finished, touring Akwatia, and he says he's seen it for himself, etc. He's moving away from there, coming back to Accra. What next?
Okay, so in fact, this is just a bit of information that I need to add to this. He's not coming to Accra directly.
Okay.
In fact, information that I'm picking up from the public relations officer of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Ibrahim Otabo, he tells me that the minister will be moving to Bani in the Upper East region, where we understand 7 miners have been killed in a blast.
Yeah.
So the minister will be going there tomorrow to assess the situation about the death of the 7 miners. He tells me, the public relations officer tells me, the ministry would conduct thorough investigations to unravel circumstances leading to the death of these 7 miners. So tomorrow morning he's going to be in the Upper East region, but the commitment to clamp down the practice of galamsey is very high, and the talk around it is always there. In fact, the 2 days that I've been with them, they've been talking a lot about clamping down on the practice. In fact, they say that when the ultimatum elapses, when the deadline that is given, when that ultimatum elapses, they're going to move in with a joint military and police team, and they'll try and get the media also to cover how they are going to wage the war against the practice.
Oh, thank you very much, Maxwell. Talking about Bani, it was just a story that we told before we came over to you, so it'll be very interesting to follow it up and to get that update. Maxwell Agbagba is our man there with the Deputy Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, Benito Owusu-Bio, and they've been checking out what's happening in Akwatia, especially small-scale and illegal mining. We understand that he's moving to the Upper East region. Well, some traders in Akwatia, as we mentioned earlier, are not happy with what the government intends to do with galamsey and the conversation around the practice, and they've been reacting to his visit.
Honorable Minister Okano, ye catch say ye panechawa sa gunu de oyin film no guna Ghana subegu galamsey no out of 10 regions no 8 regions ene galamsey 2 regions ene galamsey wa Ghana 2 regions ene galamsey wa na honorable minister say obegu.
The minister suggesting that we should stop galamsey is good. But listen, I've been home for 8 good years. I had a parcel of land, but that was seized from me. The person who took the land is now driving a Range Rover and building big houses. So
I say you go galamsey, nana buy ni be fisu krana, omegu ne office.
Now our government is in power, so we can work and get some cash, and suddenly you want to collapse galamsey. If they don't want us to do galamsey, we will stop, and in 4 years we will vote him out.
25 million Ghana, ye ne galamsey. Ujawe, baby awufi, bunye biye galamsey. We ni galamsey. On to me kase, nebuche ni bia ni nadanfu bia nye galamsey. It's also Begunu, near to the Ongun, yes, you have to me, MPP in the bank, Sankasa, Obi so Biawa, Becca, me MPP in the bank. Ah, me find people in the agro. Nelson, Galamsen, Edia Peja party, nephew opposition, Edia power. Galamse, any Peja MPP party, 8 years no more opposition. Mumbisa honorable minister, and say, Tama, more opposition, or to Nenesia Kotiada. Bisame, school down half for a book. How much did you yeska? Yan Galamse for near Kayum,
we are hungry. He should allow us to work. There are no jobs anywhere. He should help us. In Ghana, everyone is mining. So if you want to stop small-scale mining, then prepare to be voted out.
Let me say.
Now our government is in power, so we can work and get some cash, and suddenly you want to collapse Galamsey. If they don't want us to do Galamsey, we will stop, and in 4 years we will vote him out.
I'ma say, Mimi, I don't know. I'ma say, Mimi, I don't know. It is a cock of Bassay. Ombu Galamsey, the other day, Egajuma, and the Combo Kuyela, Yabako, Omuba, Omukuya. Galamsey with the Gadio, a person won't let you. Omu Galamsey, am I?
That's a development that actually throws out a dilemma onto the table of government. But of course, the chorus has been the same. No to Galamsey. We'll see how that pans out. You're still watching The Pulse with me, Gifty Ando Apia. I'm a resident of Preproduction in the Volta region, are up in arms against an Indian salt mining firm, 7 Seas, for what they say are activities of the company that have put their lives on the line. The company has been mining salt in the area for more than 5 years and has been blamed for the drying up of several sources of water and the extinction of many coconut trees. JoyNews' Volta regional correspondent Ivy Setoji has been to the community to find out more.
These villagers have come to the last well that still has water. Preproduction is one of 13 communities in the Anglo Basin where salt mining is rife. Now, the mining of that resource is having its toll.
Even drinking water here is hard to come by. Our children can't bath before going to school. Water to wash is now a luxury. We are praying for the rains. Water is life. I've been up since 3 a.m., but all the wells are empty.
And their wells, they say, is a resource of 7 Seas, an Indian salt mining company which began mining salt in commercial quantities, taking over much of the land previously owned by local artisanal salt miners.
Once upon a time, this whole stretch was a thriving lagoon with aquatic life where locals could come and mine salt. But now, it's a pale shadow of its former self, and its place, dry lands and unbearable heat.
The company involved in this sausage has employed more than 600 people, but community members here say their livelihoods have now been put on the line.
2015, it's 90,000. 90 cities.
In 2015, we sold a bag of salt for 90 cities. Business has gone bad now. We sell it for 30 cities. Even that is on credit. It's all because of the activities of this company. And when we complain, they brutalize us.
Agitations between the town folks and the company has sometimes gone violent. One person was killed recently as a result of the clash. Some still live with gunshot wounds.
Everybody in this community has a portion, has a traditional relationship with that, with a piece of portion in that land. And so, if it is true that mining of salt is governed by Mining Act, Mining Act requires that if you enter into somebody's property for the purpose of mining, but the law also requires for compensations to be paid to the people, to the individuals who owns those traditional lands. The people are not given, or were not given, compensations. The people are deprived of their daily activities.
Company turned down our request for an interview. Instead, they told us off record, quote, "We won't speak. We can't be judges in our own court. A petition has been sent to the president. We want to wait for his response," unquote. Now people here are waiting for solution. As livelihoods are involved, time not on their side. Ivy Satoji, JoyNews, Bejakope.
Ivy Satoji with that brilliant reports there. Joining me in the studio for further discussion on this matter is Benedictus Amedume. He's a member of the community who was featured in that story that Ivy did as well. You're welcome, sir. Thank you very much for coming through. So what is the level of engagement between members of the community and the mining company? Of course, they don't want to talk to us.
There has been very limited engagement. The company are not really in good terms with the people in the community. But somewhere last week, we had a stakeholder meeting with the company and the regional minister, the Volta regional minister. There were some understanding. As to how, or the way forward in this matter. We agreed to subject, or all the parties agreed to subject to mediation. It was a Herculean task. It took the able leadership of the regional minister before the community leaders, especially the assembly members, were able to agree to kowtow to mediation led by the Peace Council.
Okay.
Yes.
So the Peace Council was supposed to lead some kind of negotiation between members of the community and the mining company.
Exactly.
What was the outcome of that meeting?
Yes. Opinions were listened to. Was not, as we went to the meeting, we did not agree to go into the nitty-gritty of the matter. What we were there to do was to agree that all the parties should subject themselves to a mediation. And actually, the community didn't want to be part of that mediation because there had been several promises from leaders, politicians and leaders of the community. But those promises were not met.
Promises for what?
Promises, you see, when the Kensington industry came into the community, there were so many undertaken by the company. One of them was they were to construct a tunnel into the seawater so that they could use the seawater for the purposes of the mining of the salt. But for 7 years, they resorted to the use of the lagoon. And then when the lagoon got dried up, they resorted to the underground. And that has resorted to
water shortage,
and resorted to crops being died. You know, coconut is inheritance. It's people's livelihood. That has not also been good.
Does it mean then that the activities have affected the land, so then that's what's making it difficult for the coconut trees to grow?
Yes. You see, when you extract water from the underground, of course you will agree with me that it will affect the water from the underground. Another major problem for the community is, you know, the lagoon used to be another major source of livelihood for the people. Blekusu, Agabaji. It's not just one community. It's about 7 or 8 communities, that are affected by this particular operation. And the people are just saying that you have taken our livelihood. And it's expected that when a company of that nature is coming into a rural area, it should change the livelihood of the people, but
not to make it worse.
Not make it worse. And the people are saying that for the past 7 years that the company has come into existence, it has subjected the people to abject poverty. And their daily activity in the Lagoon, where they rely on for their survival, has been taken away from them. And I can tell you here on authority that the people who actually work in the community, who are gainfully employed in that particular company, they don't get their Senate contribution paid for them. They are paid below the minimum wage. To surprise you to know that about 5 cedis are paid. 5 cedis is paid to each worker on daily basis. And I don't think this is a good news for us. And about 20% of the people who actually work are from the community. And the excuse the company gives to the people is that when they employ the people from the area, they resort to stealing of properties of the company. I don't think that's a good excuse enough, because I feel that the company should beef up security to protect the properties of it.
I see. It's been difficult for us, like our correspondent said, difficult to get through to the company to speak to them. But at this point, what does the members of the community, or what do the members of the community want?
Yes, what they are talking about is that, you see, it is good that the company is in the community, but they want employment.
In the company?
In the company.
But you want employment that those who are already employed are not being paid, you said.
I'm coming. They want employment. Apart from that, they want a better living condition for the people, because the people were living better off before they came into the community. And as soon as they enter the community, the livelihood of people have been taken away. So what they expect is that you agree to resort to seawater for the purposes of your mining. So what they should normally do is to go back to your normal promise that you gave to the people, to use the seawater for the purposes of mining, so that the people can have water to drink. And apart from that, about 70% of the pipe for the village is connected to the mining company, and the people are left with for nothing. And we feel that government has to come in to do something about this particular thing, because we've had several confrontations with the community that has led to their equipment being destroyed. We have lost some lives, and this shouldn't continue.
What do you want government to do? When you say you want government to intervene in this matter, you've already indicated that there have been some stakeholder meetings. Exactly what do you want government to do now as members of the community?
We feel that the community is not part, or is not party to the agreement that the government entered with the industry. And so the government should take a look at the agreement it has signed with the people, because the government represents the interests of the people. And so decisions taken by government should be in the best interest of the people. The people are saying that the company is not serving them well. Their livelihood has been so poorer than before. And so the government should see to it, or should sit the company down and ensure that the company employs the people from the community, and that SNIT contributions are taken care of by the few who are working there, and that the people abide by our labor laws. The workers should not be paid below the minimum wage. And
what I find interesting, sir, is that you complain about the people, the fact that the people are being paid
below the minimum
wage, first of all. Secondly, the activity of this company is affecting the community negatively. Why would you still want such a company to thrive when you ask them to employ more of the people in the village or in the town?
Yes, you will agree with me that initially I said that the company said they were going to resort to seawater to mine. So I believe that when they resort to seawater, we would have our lagoon in some portion of the land, so that people can engage in their fishing activities. And then the water in our wells will be better off. And I think it would be okay for the community if the government see to all these things. And I also feel that the government should listen to the people. I mean, the purpose of that company is not only for the good of the company, but it should be a win-win situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much. Finally, by the way, the stakeholder meeting, are you going to have another one involving the regional minister?
Yes. For now, we are engaging in the community. We want to sit all the 7 or 8 communities which are affected by the operations of this company, so that we can have a uniform voice. So when we go to the Peace Council, we can be able to present a good case. So recommendations can be made to the government on the way forward.
Okay. Is the community impressed with how the Peace Council has handled the matter so far?
So far, we've not attended the meeting yet. We were supposed to meet on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. But the recommendation we made to the leaders of the community is that we should assemble the community leaders and get them reach a consensus as to the way forward before we go together to meet the Peace Council, so that when we represent the Peace Council, when we meet at the Peace Council meeting, we can be able to sing the voice of the people. Okay, yes.
Represent the people. So thank you so much. Benedictus Kwaku Amedume is a member of the, what's the name of the community again? I forgot.
Adina. Pajakopa. It's about
Pajakopa, that's what I was looking for. Pajakopa is the name of that company, is the name of that town, and they are not happy with the mining activities that's going on there. Well, it is still a developing story. We'll bring you more on that in our subsequent bulletins, and we'll be following that story as well. IB Setoji is there for us. But let's move on to some other stories now. And the Ghana Education Service says budgetary allocations have been made to pay for the arrears of persons owed from 2014 to 2016. It also says that letters of promotion of its staff will be ready by the end of the month, and all newly recruited teachers will also be paid their salaries by the end of the month. Director General of the GES, Jacob Kaur, made this known at a press conference in Accra.
Management of Ghana Education Service wishes to inform its staff and the general public that it has started signing all promotion letters, which will be ready for collection at the various regional offices not later than 30th April 2017. All personnel who successfully went through the interview shall therefore be placed on their right salary scales so as to commensurate with the ranks for which they have been promoted. However, personnel who are unsuccessful could reapply immediately. Also, all newly recruited teachers from the colleges of education have been processed for payment of their salaries at the end of this month. At the end of this month, any newly recruited teacher trainee who has already been recruited and a salary has not come at the end of this month should let us know for immediate action.
And away from education, let's look at tourism. The CEO of the Ghana Tourist Authority, Kwesi Agyeman, says all tourist sites in the country are being assessed with the aim of getting insurance packages for them. This project, he tells my colleague Anno Dame, is to ensure the tourists are insured against all forms of disasters. He adds that his office is investing into the sector in partnership with private organizations to make tourist sites more attractive. Mr. Agyeman also revealed that the authority is pushing for an ally that will make all tourist attractions regulated so that revenue generation will be in a common pool and also for better management. Mr. Agyeman said another site is being developed in the Volta region for paragliding, which will be open next year and also reduce the pressure of Kwaku during Easter festivities.
Not just because of Kintampo, it's something that we were working on with Glyco, and we've just had to work out the numbers to cover, to give public liability insurance for all tourist attractions. And so because the negotiation has stalled or delayed a bit, that's why we're coming out with this package for just Easter. Right after Easter, we'll announce what covers all the other attractions. So it's something that will come out in at least maximum in a month's time.
When you talk about all tourist attractions. Some of them are undiscovered, if I should put it that way. We've been to some places that are so nice, beautiful. We can actually develop them. A lot of them are not known. You being in this office for now, how are you going to develop these sites so that at least we can generate more revenue for Ghana?
Actually, we are looking at a partnership model to develop our tourist attractions. I mean, as GTA, our role is really to regulate. And so together with our sister agency, GTDC, which is the tourist development company, we've been identifying some of these sites and also looking at how we can upgrade some of the existing sites. For example, when we went to Kintampo to do the safety audit and look at the site, one of the recommendations that has come out is, apart from just the waterfalls, what can we add on? So we're looking at adding on a canopy walkway over there, putting in place a few, there's a museum that is coming up there for the story or the history of Kintampo that we are working on with the local authorities. If you go to some of the other attractions, Lake Busumchi, for example, we're looking at a similar facility. So what we are looking at doing is aggressively market our tourist attractions in terms of investments and in terms of partnerships with the private sector. I mean, as the regulatory body, thanks to our tourism development levy, there's a few that we can add on in terms of receptive facilities, in terms of washrooms, in terms of the basics that will make those sites attractive. And when you go there, you have a feel. But then to get to the next level, we need to provide that conducive atmosphere for investors to come into our tourist industry.
If I recall, I have heard this before, even though you are new in the office, I have heard a lot of this before. We're going to develop our tourist site, we're going to make it conducive for tourists, and then nothing happens. The ones we know...
Please take me on my word.
We should
take you on my word, and I'll show you some of the things that we are doing. I mean, for example, the immediate one that you will see, we have the Accra Tourist Information Center, which is opposite Afrikiko. In about, let's say by 3 months, you'll come there and you'll marvel what you see. Kintampo is going to be redone in a beautiful way. We're doing the Cape Coast Castle, for example. We're doing a reenactment, working with the National Theatre and the Actors Guild to have, when you go in there, you watch actually the story of the slave trade, not just somebody telling you about it. So those are some of the things that we are going to do, but I want you to take me by my way.
Let's talk about Ebri also.
Ebri Gardens is also another one. We think that it has to be exposed more. I mean, one of the things that we are looking at doing is to add on a heritage park where we could showcase some of our past leaders. So we are talking about a national heritage park adjacent to the Ebri Gardens. But even in the gardens itself, I think it's not being put to good use in terms of. We are working on that. But
whilst holding you accountable, will you give us some timelines?
Timelines, I told you 3 months. I'll showcase what we have done.
That's for the tourist information center.
Yeah, Kintampo too. I mean, for Kintampo, most definitely today the report of the audit will be out. We'll present it to the minister, and there are recommendations. One of them is to do a lot of afforestation around the riverbanks in Kintampo, in Fuller Falls, which is also close by. We're looking at Buti Falls, the Vili Falls, all those falls. I mean, the falls are the basic ones that we need to tackle now because there's a lot of visitation there, and it's also something that could lead itself to accidents. If you're talking to Forestry Commission, they have a program called Forestry Improvement Program, and we've told them let's work together, particularly on all the toll sites. The University of Energy and Natural Resources in Sunyani have partners with us. They have identified some of the species. So we are working on it. It's not something that we're just saying for saying we're going to do it.
There are other places that we don't hear of, but they are equally tourist attractions.
The newer, the better for us. You know why? Because some of the old ones, there are issues around it. For example, you have the district assembly, municipal assemblies, and the traditional authorities saying that this site belongs to us, and so nobody wants to invest in it. They take the money, they don't make investment. So we're working on an LI that will go to Parliament very soon to say that all tourist attractions must be regulated by GTA. So that's one thing that will make sure that if the site is not up to a certain standard, we won't allow it to operate. So we need that empowerment by law, and that's what we are working on. Once that is done, Now, for those that are coming up, because they are now new, we can then now go in there and do a management agreement. Not that we want to be part of, to say that GTA should manage them, but we have to make sure that we are regulating it properly.
One major event in Ghana is the paragliding festival during Easter. Can there be, have you found out or discovered any other sites where this can be, so that the concentration is not only on Kwaku, so that other places can also develop?
There's one that we've discovered in the Volta region. It's very close to the Vili Falls, and because of the numbers, if you look at the waterfalls, Vili has, I think, Vili and Voti get the most visitations. So what we're looking to do is to link it up with the Vili Falls. The site has been developed already in terms of the takeoff sites, but the road leading up the mountain is a problem, and people cannot, so you have to get people walk up the mountain. So we're talking to the local authorities.
Hannah Odami with the CEO of the Ghana Tourist Authority there. In a related development, insurance company Glyco has signed a 100,000 cedi public reliability insurance for everyone who will be in Kwaku for the Easter festivities. The head of corporate affairs at Glyco said aside from the insurance package for celebrants, there's an 80% discount for anyone attending any Easter program.
GTA thought it wise that paragliding event is one huge event that occupies the Kwaku festivity, and for the fact that people are afraid of visiting tourist centers, why don't you come in and provide some kind of comfort, peace of mind for people attending the Kwaku event? So as part of our corporate social responsibility, we thought that why not? I mean, at the end of the day, it's mostly Ghanaians who will be visiting the storage centers, and we will be doing our duty as an indigenous Ghanaian company to provide the peace of mind. That's what we do as insurance. So we came in to sponsor the Ghana Tourism Authority with a public liability insurance of 100,000 over the 3 days period. So we know, I mean, from our discussions and meetings, we know that they've put in place all the safety measures. They've flown in seasoned pilots who are coming in to make sure that there's zero disaster, but no one knows tomorrow. So if anything happens, that Glyco also has provided an insurance cover, so that should anything happen, you are covered. And this insurance package is for everyone who will be in the environs of the paragliding event. So whether you are flying, whether you are just a mere spectator going to see people who are flying, whether you are selling your wares there or just taking selfies, once you are in the environs of the paragliding event, you are covered by insurance. And if anything happens, Glyco will cover you against death, against accidental injuries, or loss of property if it happens in that way.
It's only for paragliding, because we were told that some people will be also going for church conventions. It's all Easter related. So do you have other insurance also for that?
Exactly. I mean, during this festivity, a lot of travels happening. There are Easter conventions. Other people might decide to go to other tourist centers and not necessarily Kwaku. So in the spirit of nationalism and in the spirit of Easter, we've also put together a huge discount for personal accident cover. For anyone traveling within this Easter period, you're entitled to an 80% discount, 80% discount on personal accident cover. And this is happening in all our Glyco offices nationwide. So walk into Glyco from now up to the end of the Easter period and take your personal accident cover, which is hugely discounted. I mean, for instance, if you take a sum assured of 10,000, you'll be paying as little as 20 Ghana cedis.
Well, the pilots are in town and Hannah has been interacting with them. They tell JoyNews that Ghana has to vigorously invest in the Easter festivities at Kwaku, as they have never seen any of such festivities in the world.
You've been flying this for 11 years in Ghana?
I've been flying for 12 years in Ghana.
12 years, actually, okay.
12 years in Ghana.
And how's the experience been?
Experience been fantastic. Ghana is one of the best places in the world that we've experienced because the flying is very consistent, very enjoyable experience for the passengers as well as the pilots.
Oh, really?
No, it's really.
Apart from Ghana, where else do you fly? Is it just in your country?
No, we go throughout the world. We've been, well, both of us been throughout the world, although our hearts are in Ghana.
Okay. So you've been eating our fufu and groundnut soup and peanut butter soup, everything?
Yeah, everything.
Great.
Everything.
Banku.
Oh, yeah,
Do you come to Ghana only when we're celebrating Easter?
Yeah, we've come a few other times. We love flying here because it's very consistent, and the hospitality of the GTA and the people of Ghana make it really special flying here. But it's pretty unique. There's no other event in the world like the Easter Festival that goes on here.
Meaning you've been traveling a lot of places, and this is the one
Yeah, most of the team and myself, we've all flown all over the world, but this event is absolutely unique to the world. There's nothing like it.
So you must be very excited to be part of this.
I'm very excited. I think Ghana should be very proud of the event. I mean, it has a great safety record and a lot of happy people. The quality of the flying is really great. So it's really good to be here.
So if he's talking about the safety record and the excitement flying in Ghana, how do we make this international so that we get a lot of more tourists coming in, not from other parts of the world?
Oh, well, we need, first of all, to get the word out to the rest of the world, number one. And number two, we need to expand the launch area so it's bigger and more user-friendly for more people to fly. Right now, we can only take off one or two at a time. If we had expanded the launch a little bit, we could at least double, possibly triple that number.
Okay, you talked about getting the word out there in the international world. How do you think we can do that, since you have been flying all over the world?
Oh, publicity. Sure. That would be a question for the marketing department.
Yeah, but you have seen it, so how vigorous should we go with that?
Well, I think the word has to get out. We do put the word out whenever we fly different areas, what it's like, but there's nothing, as Chuck said, there's nothing to compare with Ghana.
Now, Chuck, probably finally, is there any new skill you're going to bring on board this year whilst flying?
Any new skills?
Yeah.
Probably not. We don't want to try out new stuff on people. We'll test it ourselves. But, you know, I've been flying for 30 years, and most of the other team, we've all been flying a very long time. So you're still always learning something new. It's like anything else, any other endeavor that you might pursue as a professional. You're never going to know absolutely everything, but you're always going to be learning, expanding, and so we're ready for people.
And there's this fear of flying. A lot of people have this fear. No matter what you tell them, it's going to be safe and everything. There's this fear. Demystify this so that some more people can come fly with you in Kwaku this Easter.
The fear is diminished in about the first minute of the passenger. It's a normal reaction for the unknown. What you don't understand, you fear, no matter what it is. But as soon as we get in the air, they feel instantly comfortable.
So that's it. Ed and Chuck will be in Kwaku, flying you and I. And let's demystify those fears. I'm one who will be there. Hannah Odami for JoyNews.
Well, the Kwaku pressure obviously is on, and I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to that celebration. But paintings of framed half-naked women seem to be selling hot on the street of Accra. It's not uncommon to see young men hawking such images, and it appears that men are the target. Patricia Gasu was at the Achimota station here in Accra to find out more about these paintings.
Can you tell me a little about this? This one? Yeah. This one, it shows all it talks about love. Okay. Yeah. It talks about all about love. I will go with this one. Okay. But I don't know if you have something more erotic than this. Yeah, we have a lot. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. But I need something diagonal like that, not rectangle, because where I'm putting it is where I'm putting it is just a diagonal.
Paintings easily attract people, so it's not a wonder that these young men have stopped to have to feast their eyes on the ones here. But they are not alone. Commuters who ply this route usually park their cars to either buy or just watch. It appears everyone, including these people, love to see these paintings. It's break time at school, and seeing these paintings will occupy their time at least for the next 15 minutes.
Anytime I see something that is beautiful, I just take it. When we come to my place, I really love them. Yeah.
So let's come to this particular.
In the environment, I really love this woman standing in the water just because of the environment. You know, it's like It's part of art. Yeah, you know.
So let's talk about this one.
Actually,
this particular one.
Actually, I really love the picture. But, you know, to put something short in my room, I have some God-loving people coming to me. Okay. You know, the moment that they say something like it's art, to me, from the bottom of my heart, it's cool for me. Yeah. You know, but I don't know somebody. So I know where to keep this picture if I had it. I'll take it in my bedroom, but it's cool for me. Okay, so yeah.
This will be in the hall.
I really love this because of the kids in the village environment. You know, now the area is developed. If you don't have money, you can't go far away to see the design, the beauty of the world. You know, so it's good that you see something like this every time in your room.
Okay, and finally, okay, I think last but one.
Yeah.
You have this. You have this picture, and then you have.
I had a daughter.
That.
I had a daughter who really resembled this girl. And she's good. She always loved art. Okay. So at the moment she's not in the country. She's learning medicine outside, you know. Okay. So the moment I see this, I really love to have something in my room. And something like this. You know, I usually go to a village, a place like Yeji. You know, traveling around the water side and the lake side, you know.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I like these pictures because if you lose appetite in your wife and you watch these pictures, it can ginger you to, your morale will come back. Because if you look these pictures, how the thighs showing on their breasts with the beads, maybe your wife don't put beads. So as soon as you bring the picture with the beads, you say, hey, my husband starts chasing beads pictures. Then I have to put beads on my waist.
There are varied reasons why these men love these paintings. There are others who cannot buy the paintings because their spouses abhor them. Their reason? They see these paintings as competitors.
Yeah, I bought a picture, something like this one, the one showing her breast.
We'll bring you a fuller version of that story in our subsequent bulletins, but it sounds like pure fantasy at play there. It's time for sports on the pause.